Okay, Internet Technology students, this is the how-to. I don't have a sign to hold up in front. This is the how to organize your folders and files for chapters 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to do some folder and file organization for chapters 1, 2, and 3. And I am going to switch over to my screen here, and I am going to go to DreamHost. I'm sorry, I don't want to go to DreamHost. I want to go to files.dreamhost.com. And we did have some speed issues with them this morning, so hopefully that's not going to be a problem again. It looks like it might be. I'm going to pause for a moment. Okay, so hopefully the speed won't be too much of an issue. So first of all, here I am on my files, my file manager for DreamHost. That should not be too much of a issue for you, hopefully. And I'm going to make my screen a little bit, zoom in a little bit here. I think I'm going to. There we go. Make that a little bit easier to see. Okay, which I will have to zoom out occasionally to get this. But basically what I want to show you, right, inside of your, so when you log into your files at dreamhost.com, kind of depends on your browser settings, but remember we have a folder for our website. So that's going to be very important that you start out by going into the folder for your website. Mine reads mrwalter.rthsinternetTech.online. Yours would read like cloudrun5.rthsinternet. Whatever your username is there, you need to go in there. Okay, so you have to go into the folder that's for your website. And inside of here, I have created a folder for chapter 1. Notice it reads chapter_1, and I made a folder called chapter_2 and a folder called chapter_3. I'm going to be making a folder for chapter 4. So I'm going to click on my new file and folder and click on new folder and put in the name here. This one is going to be chapter_4, and I'll OK that. And that's going to make a new folder for me next to the others. Hopefully that's going to be created no problem. We did have some speed problems this morning. It seems like DreamHost is kind of chugging along. So hopefully that comes along. I'm going to pause. Okay, so there has been some speed issues with the file manager. So if you run into that problem where you're getting errors or it's timing out, my suggestion is, first of all, is to log off or maybe even restart your Chromebook or your browser and log back in. Sometimes that seems to clear up the issue, but otherwise you just have to wait, come back in a half hour or so and try again. But so as you can see, I've created the folders. I've created a folder for chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. I also have a folder for all of the files, but you do not need to have this, so just don't pay attention to that one. Also notice that I've created an index file, and this is going to be an assignment. I'll show you what that index file does, but I have an index file now at the top level of my website, so that when I go to my website, it automatically sees this index file. So in the previously we had this named index_old. We had renamed it and we moved it, but we're going to be creating a new index file for your website. Okay, now once I've made these folders for the chapters, then I went through the process and moved files into each chapter. So inside of chapter 1, there's where we have that index. Remember, we had called that index old, And if you want to continue to have that be called index old, that is okay with me. It might make a little bit more sense to you. But if I'm going to rename that and I'll call it index old. That was from chapter 1. That was the Starbuzz coffee website. Okay, so I'm going to call it index old for right now. I renamed it, and you'll see what that does. But that's in the chapter 1 folder. Okay, if we go back up and we'll look into chapter 2. Chapter 2 is all the files that we made for that. And remember, we had a separate folder in that chapter. We made a separate folder called Lounge. And so if I go into the Lounge folder, I have my About folder, I have my beverages, I have my images, and then I have my Lounge HTML file. Okay? And you can look in that chapter, chapter 2, to see what's supposed to be in each one of those folders. If you've been following along with the instructions, you know what goes in there. Our images are there. We've got our Elixir page in there. Our directions are in there. Okay? And if we go up a level and then go into and go up another level and into chapter 3, this is a folder for our journal. And so we have we made a folder for journal, and inside of the journal folder we have a folder for our images. That's where your Segway 1 and Segway 2 files are that you fetched. And we have our journal HTML file inside of the chapter 3 journal folder. I'm going to go up one more level and up another level, and I've created a chapter 4 folder, but there's nothing in that yet. Okay, I am also going to talk about this index HTML file, but to be able to talk about that, I'm going to show you what it does. Okay, so to show you what it does, I'm going to go to my website. So if I go to Mr. Wolter, RTHS Internet Tech Online, you can see that I have created an Internet Tech homepage. I just have it something very, very simple. It's called Mr. Wolter's RTHS Internet Tech homepage. And I made a link for chapter 1. I made a link for chapter 2 and a link for chapter 3. I also have a link for my CSS folder, but you do not need to have that. In fact, I may take that out of there. But if I click on my link for chapter 1, that will open up everything that I have inside of chapter 1. And you can see there's my index old. That's that Starbuzz coffee page. Okay? And if I go back up to the parent directory, I go back up a level, here I am back at my index. Remember, this is that index that I told you about. This is the top level index. Remember, an index HTML file gets read automatically by the web server. Okay, so I don't have to put in index.html up here in the URL. Okay, I just have to go to my website and it'll automatically show me that index page. I have a link for chapter 2. If I click on that, it'll show me what I have in chapter 2. Remember, there's my lounge, and inside of the lounge I have all those, and there's my lounge page with elixirs and our directions. Okay, so I can just go back to my home page here, and I also have a folder or a link for chapter 3. That is for my journal, and there's my journal HTML file. That's what we worked on in chapter 3. Okay, so let's take a look at the code here for my main index, it's not very difficult, but if I view the source for it and I zoom in, notice that I have my HTML tag and I have my head tag for my title. That's the title that appears up here in the tab. And then the body starts, and I have Mr. Walters RTHS Internet Tech homepage. Right? Just like you see, there's the Internet Tech homepage. And here's my links. I've got a section for my links. I did that as a second level header. That's my H2. And here's what my links look like. Anchor href equals, and then I have chapter _1. Remember, in my file manager, my folders are chapter _1, chapter _2, chapter 3. So when I am looking at the links, I have the name of the folder and then a slash. That's what's inside of my quotes. And then my text says chapter 1. Now if you want that to be a little different, if you want to say click here for chapter 1, click here for chapter 2, you can do it how you want it, okay? This is your main index page, right? So that's what people will see when they come to your website. I do not want you to use your first and your last name. If you'd like to just use your first name on that main index, you can do that. But the important thing is when I go to your website, I can easily click on chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 and see the files and the folders that you have inside of those chapters. Okay? All right, send me a text or post a private comment in the assignment if you have questions.